I shouldn't, because like that's not how they intended it.
Yeah, exactly.
To sound, right? But
For everybody who's wondering why we're just already sitting here talking, it's because we do a little preamble for the audio listeners. So for the YouTube people, we appreciate you being here. But if you want that extra little bit for free, you can just listen to the audio thing where we just kind of shoot the shit and talk about nothing.
Yeah. Sometimes it's really important. Sometimes it's completely useless.
It's always important. What do you mean? It's us talking.
Okay.
it doesn't even cost any money.
We are men on the internet. It's always important.
Oh my God.
Am I right or am I right, people? What's going on? Morning. Welcome to Don't Be the Artist. I'm Hagen.
I'm Dave.
I'm Adam. That was too loud.
When you were hitting it, with my ears were going like dying out.
Really?
Yeah, because you were moving it ever so slightly when you're pushing the button.
You're still good?
I'm good now.
Every
yeah.
sound effect is just gonna sound warped.
I can like change your headphones too, you know.
Heather says you get a cancel
Change my
button.
I'll take a
Headphones?
cancel butt. Give me. You said it's too loud?
Oh, I'm just giving you shit now. That's too loud.
Oh, too
You're
loud.
just too loud. You're full on streamer. It's too loud.
I can't win, can I? Cannot win.
It does sound better.
My mic does?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you know, hopefully, if I join a Discord call later and someone's like, you're a little quiet, I will immediately say, get
Tell them
fucked.
to turn
Yeah.
their fucking volume up.
Well, they have me at 200%. That's not important. It's not important.
That sounds
Can't
like
win.
their computer problem.
Can't win. Just
Dude, I'm having such a hard time not looking at the list.
You can look at the list.
I
It's
don't
fine.
want to.
It is
I don't want to
there.
spoil
It is
it.
right there.
You can look at the list. It's
I thought
fine.
the idea was it was supposed to be secret because that's what we did. But
That's not what I did. I sent you guys a list in advance.
did you?
Also, like the whole time for
You're just saying that you didn't listen to it.
I guess.
the whole time for Adams, I had the list up right in
know.
front of
That's
us.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean, I could have put it just big front and center right there. That would have made it even harder, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, sorry. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good.
A
Excellent.
less busy week than normal.
Hey.
And-
Must be nice.
Oh, dude, it is nice.
Must be nice.
I swear I've been napping.
That's fine.
What have you been doing with your free time? Like napping.
That's cool.
That sounds like what you would do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Napping.
Yeah.
It's great.
Peak summer activity for you.
Bro, I wish
Hibernating.
I wish I was napping, but like the heat makes you want to nap. The heat makes you want to take
Yeah,
off
of
all
course.
my clothes and fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I've done that a couple times, not falling asleep, but just taken off all of my clothes and laid down in like what is a cool room. But it feels like I can't get to a cool room. Like even at work, I'm like, am I dying? Like, do I have a fever? And then I'll turn over and like look at a drum student and he's like wiping sweat off his brow. And I'm like, all right, it's not just me. Okay, Jesus.
I have a bit of a conspiracy theory. I feel like companies have like dialed up the temperature like 2 degrees because they're all like, we can save a ton of money and nobody will care.
Except
And
everybody
there's nothing
cares.
you can do about it.
I
really.
care.
Yeah,
That
people
sucks.
care, but like there's nothing you can do about it.
Right. We were talking about the movie theaters that were really hot.
Movie theaters seem
What
like that's
the
a thing.
fuck? That's
I
so-
noticed that when I went into our office for work the other day. I was
You
like-
went to the office?
I went to 2 different buildings and I was like, this building is way
Wow.
warmer. You guys turned up the temperature in here to save money, didn't you?
Damn.
Then the second building was
Colder.
really cold.
Yeah.
And then the third building was just right.
I didn't go to a third building. I didn't get to do that.
He said, take me home.
Yeah.
I just went home.
Yeah. With your double air conditioning
Yes.
at home.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, come to my house if you want a cold room.
Dude, it's
Yeah, your AC is permanently on.
Yeah, it's just on.
it's tough, man. Sometimes it's just like all I want to do is just lay and be cold, and I also just I want to lay on the couch and watch TV, and I'll lay and be cold for a second, and then like the warmth of the couch starts to take over, and I'm like, this sucks. There's no winning. I'll switch between like couches and chairs to like just get some
to
cold.
rotate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like switching to the fucking cool side of the pillow, you know?
Get your gig fan.
Yeah, I've thought about that, but
It can just be living room fan.
Yeah, I've thought about that too. It's stuff that I can fix. I just want to complain, you know?
There you go.
I just want to
There
complain.
it is.
So I've got a little bit of news for us. And I got this news from friend of the show, Blake. So I've already ranted to Blake about this because he gave this to me. What is happening? Sorry, my phone. I don't know how to work this. Okay, do you guys, so we have talked not on the show, but about Jack White's album and how he what did he do? He released it to fans like a week early, right?
More than a week early. Like,
Okay.
He just kind of told Third Man Records to start putting it in random orders, like in stores, and just
Right.
somebody bought an album, and then they gave them a random album that said nothing on it, and it was unlabeled, and you go play it, and you're like, oh, it's Jack White.
Okay, yeah.
And
So
they started doing that on online orders eventually too, and then the digital release came out.
right, and that
it
came
still
out
is called No Name, which is the album name now.
incredibly fascinating.
Yeah, very Jack White.
So I don't know. You might have seen this too. But Jack White says his tour will be last minute shows. Some announced that morning. The tour has already started. It's already begun.
I knew he started the tour. I didn't know any details about it. I still haven't listened to the album, actually.
Really?
Me neither.
I have a dumb reason why. I can't play it on my nice speakers on my desk.
Why not?
My amp for the speakers died.
Oh, I see. I see.
I went to like start it. It played like 20 seconds of the song and then it died. And I was like, I don't want to listen to this on like shitty speakers or like headphones, really.
That makes sense.
So you're waiting for a new amp.
Yeah.
Do you have it on vinyl?
No.
Or are you going to stream it?
I did think about I should just buy it. Buy the
Yeah.
record at this point. It might show up faster than the amp.
Who knows?
So here's Jack White's statement from this event. Hello and love to all the peoples of the world out there. A lot of folks asking about when we are going to announce, quote, tour dates. Well, we don't know what to tell you, but the tour already started at the Legion a couple weeks ago. People keep saying that these are, quote, pop-up shows we've been playing. Well, you can call them whatever you want, but we are on tour right now. These are the shows. We won't be announcing dates in advance so much. We will mostly be playing at small clubs, backyards, and a few festivals here and there to help pay for expenses. Shows will be announced as close to the show date as possible. Some shows won't even decide to do until that morning. I also want to walk through orchard fields and grab apples off of trees at will and fill my belly full of that fruit if that desire strikes me. I'm looking for that cool breeze, you know? Lots of love and rock and roll to all, and you are blessed for giving that love to others. We hope that we see you out on the road soon. If not, let's get some coffee and a slice of pie sometime. Music is sacred. Johnny Guitar, Archbishop Harold Holmes III.
There's a lot going on in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey,
Must be nice, you fucking asshole.
Can I just say something? Can I just say it? Can I just say it?
Say it.
Maybe something maybe a little controversial.
Uh-oh.
I'll happily take another cancel buck for this. Hey, fuck Jack White.
Yeah, fuck
Like,
that.
What the fuck is any of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, must be nice is fucking right, dude.
Yeah, dude.
What is that? Like,
He's cosplaying as a musician for a bit.
dude, it's
As
crazy.
a touring musician.
Yeah, I guess. But like the whole
In the 70s.
Even that, like, not really.
Yeah.
Like, they knew they were going somewhere.
Yeah, I know, but like unsigned bands would be like,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
we don't know if we're going to make it to the next venue, and that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
right. This
Which,
is
like, there is an aspect where that's a cool idea, but you
is.
come off as a smug asshole because you're rich.
This
Exactly.
is cosplaying. That's what this is. And it's like, it's massively insulting. I would say mostly to
His touring band.
well, probably that, but also.
No, they're on salary.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm sure they're getting paid very well.
Yeah,
but
they don't
also
give a
that,
shit
that
about
must
that.
be very irritating for him to be like, hey, we're gonna like play a show tonight. You cool with that? Like,
Right.
there is
yeah.
an aspect
Yeah.
where like you're getting paid for that, but you also have to go hang around with him going to get like pick apples off of trees and shit.
Yeah. So what the fuck is any of that? So to me, the part that really gets me is this is very insulting to his fans of the working class, because most people have to set aside time. They have to plan out if they're gonna go to a show. Most people, they have to let's just take where we are right now. We're in Denton, Texas. That's like an hour north of Dallas. If you're gonna go to a show in Dallas, then you have to plan for that accordingly, especially if it's like a weekday and you're at work. That's
I need
assuming
like 2.5 hours to get down there in time.
right. That's assuming that you work a normal schedule, right? That's assuming that you work like a 9 to 5. You can go, okay, cool. I'll get off at 5. I'll head straight there. But most people, I would say that I know, don't work that kind of schedule.
Also, they're going to be like, I'll head straight there. Oh, cool, it's sold out.
Right. That too.
Because people who live in the fucking city where he's playing
Yeah.
are going to hear about it.
and if he's
And
playing small towns,
He's probably
Exactly.
not. They're not going to put tickets on sale online. I assume.
yeah.
Assume that's part of the bit. Also, is well, they're only on sale at the box office. So fuck you if you don't live in downtown Dallas.
Dude, it's one of those
Jackson
things.
would be all about this because he lives so close to all the venues.
Yeah.
He would think this is great.
He's like, music's back, baby. Sorry, Jackson. But yeah, I find it to be pretty insulting to most people. I think that
it's cool as a thing in between planned dates. Like Foo Fighters have done this. where
Jack
they'll-
White has done this.
Well, right.
He's done it where it's like in between secret shows, pop-up shows. He's
He
done
didn't
this.
advertise that he was on purpose not having a schedule.
on
Right.
purpose. Fuck you, fans. You
Yeah,
don't get to
exactly.
see us. Yeah.
So okay. I will admit the first time I did read this last night, and when I read it, I was like, "That's really cool for the band. That's really cool for him because I'm sure it's nice that he doesn't have to, be staring down the barrel of 150 tour dates for the rest of the year or whatever it ends up being. But yeah, very quickly I was like, this sucks.
Yeah.
This sucks.
But it's probably cool for the people who get to go. But lots of people aren't going to be able to go.
I would say it's a cool idea up front, but it's really hard to make that the only thing you're doing. If you're doing more, if you were doing other shows, then it would make a whole lot more sense. But if it's just this, if it's just like just the backyard, just the secret shows, all that kind of stuff, it's to me it's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
And really like out of touch. I think that he's like his whole idea of technology is pretty out of it's obviously out of touch.
Out of touch.
but it's also pretty. It's also a lot. It feels sometimes insulting to the working class, to people who don't have the privilege to not have a phone or
have somebody who has a
answers
phone for
emails,
you
right?
and
Right?
does
Yeah.
Social media. Yeah.
So here's the other thing is I've seen one person, Amanda Shires. She's a singer-songwriter and violinist or fiddle player. And I saw her posting footage of her at the show last night in, I guess, Nashville. I'm not sure where she lives. I'm assuming Nashville. But that's the other thing, is that people who are in the industry and close to him are probably getting first dibs on like the answer to where he's going to be playing.
In a city like that, there's enough people who will hear that like somebody is playing tonight at this place and nobody knows who it is. I wonder who it could be.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Also, we saw Jack White picking apples outside of Records earlier. So like,
I would love to see posts
because you're going to see him here in Dallas playing baseball, because that's what he does when he comes here.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And so you're going to see him playing baseball, and then I think I might be like, I'm going to go hang out in Dallas today and see what happens. But
yeah, well, and like it would be great to see. It'd be great to see posts on like Reddit or Instagram. Like, I had to kick this guy off my front porch. He kept trying to like pick apples.
It's a fucking crab apple tree, dude. You can't eat those. You're gonna get diarrhea. Ian's referencing in the chat. He has it mixed up. But what I do have is a friend who she's a really great drummer. She was in LA, went to this venue because there was no big band advertised. It just said like unknown or something like that. And she was like, "Oh, well, I want to go see a show at this venue." And it was them Crooked Vulture's first show.
Right, you told me about
Right?
that. Yeah,
That's fucking cool because they didn't advertise it.
Yeah.
Or the Foo Fighters
and it
or
wasn't an
Pearl
entire
Jam.
tour of it.
Exactly.
I
Foo
think
Fighters
that's where he
and
loses me.
yeah, Aerosmith, Foo Fighters, Pearl Jam, many bands have gone under aliases and played club gigs.
Yeah.
One off or to fill out
Or-
dates on the tour.
Or they've done backyard tours.
backyard tours,
That kind of
garage
thing.
tours.
That's an intentional thing that
Yeah.
is like, we're going to do this, but don't worry, we're going to play other shows too
Or-
at some point in time.
Yeah, or they use technology and they film it
Yeah.
and like stream it, like the Cubby Bear Foo Fighters gig.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Like,
Yeah.
obviously most people couldn't go to that. So
Right.
To me, it's about like creating more, like it should be about creating more of the special experience to those who could be there, and not a middle finger to those who can't.
Yeah.
And for all I know, for all we know, there's going to be more opportunities that arise from this. But it really feels like hey, we don't really care about you. I want to do this how I want to do this. Let's grab some coffee sometime. I can't believe you fucking put that. Like, who is he?
Yeah, is
Who
he
is that too?
Is he getting coffee with somebody? No.
That's
just
crazy.
a man about town.
Yeah.
He wants to be relatable.
Exactly.
That being said, if I heard about a Jack White show at fucking J&J's basement or whatever,
Yeah.
something like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm fucking going.
Sure.
And then the next week I'd be like, that was so cool.
Yeah, of course, of course.
If you
But-
can go, it would be
Yes.
cool. Maybe that's part of why this feels worse. Is we're assuming he's doing like one date in a city.
Right.
If he winds up playing like 7 nights in a row in Dallas at random places, maybe this is less bad.
Be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. And
Unless
Kyle,
the same set of people go every day, which they probably would.
which that would also happen. Kyle in the chat said, "So is Jack White playing your backyard?" He does not. He's not allowed. I will not allow such a thing.
Yeah, there are noise ordinances.
Noise ordinances, and I don't really. After I on the internet said fuck Jack White, if he still wants to come play my backyard, I guess so.
It
But
probably makes him want to play it more.
I guess so. Yeah, that's probably
Does he
true.
want to come
yeah.
on the podcast? That would
Yeah.
be okay.
Dude,
But that episode
There's
will
too much
only be on
technology in this
vinyl.
room, though.
dude, that would be so funny.
Recorded via gramophone.
You have to get that episode.
You
You
say
have to
that
get it
as a
on
joke,
tape.
but they've did a podcast from Third Man that was like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Exactly.
Holy
Yeah.
fucking shit. Well, that's
Hi, and
That
welcome
cuts
to
us
Feed
out.
the Arts. That didn't sound like I
Like
wanted
no
it
range.
to.
I mean, I could do like, let's see, hold on. This is too much technology, I know, but it's kind of like this. You could do. Hi, welcome to Don't Be the Artist.
Exactly.
You know,
There you go.
you guys don't get it still.
There's too many lights in here, too many flashing things for him.
Yeah, he wouldn't like
He'd
that.
probably like freak out.
Yeah, that's also that's very true.
Not
That's
enough
very true.
blue.
Not I could give us more blue.
Give more. Yeah,
I could definitely do more blue. Well, yeah. So that's the Jack White of it all. Enough of that.
Oh, Jack White.
Enough.
You rich
It is
son
a
of a gun.
very Jack White thing to do. It's not
Yeah.
surprising exactly.
No,
He's got to have a gimmick.
Exactly.
that's true.
Good for him.
Good
If that
for
makes him feel good, then cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Those shows are going to be exciting as hell.
Yeah. I mean,
And they're
you're,
going to happen to just play some festivals to make real money.
you're so
He literally said that.
You're
No, I
so
know.
right that for those who are going to be there, it's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
It's just really unfortunate. There's not enough like support for everybody else.
Yes.
You know.
And I'm jealous that I can't do something like that.
Sure, that too. Yeah. Well, I think jealousy is a fair thing to say, but I think also like it really is like it's important to look at it and go, this is coming from a place of privilege.
Yes.
This is 100% a place of privilege.
Not just a little bit, like an extreme amount.
Yeah.
Because there
Yeah.
are lots of professional, like successful musicians who can't go do that.
Yeah, there are a lot of successful musicians who can't even tour right now.
Right. Exactly.
Or
yeah.
like they have a label involved. He doesn't have that. He has all these things going for him to let him just do whatever weird shit he wants to do.
Right. He's the man in charge.
He
but yeah.
became the man.
He pulled himself up by the bootstraps, and he made it happen for himself.
He made
To
his
his
own
credit,
boots.
I don't think he says stuff like that. At least
No, of course not. He made his own boots. Is that what you said?
That's what I said.
he worked at a boot store.
His boots are the best boots. And then he's going to use those boots to go pick some apples.
There you
There's
go.
a documentary about those boots.
Son
Yeah.
of a bitch. I set up so many things. I tried to fix my microphone. It broke. And then I forgot to do the one thing that, I was fixing the microphone and then I found this on the ground. You guys ever like taken something apart and then fixed it and then found one little tiny piece? And you're like,
Yeah.
where did that come from?
Yep.
I'm not gonna try to figure
No,
it out.
you throw it away. And you
I
go,
don't want to throw it
didn't know
away.
anything
I want to
about
just leave it on the desk until one day this breaks again and then go, oh, right.
That's where it should go.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
mic heavy?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little
It's
bit.
right over your dingleberries. So if it just
I
falls
don't
off the
think
mic
that's a
stand,
supporting. Like,
No, that's not what that
piece.
Oh, well, God. I mean, it feels a
would
lot.
just go
feels a lot more sturdy.
and then very quietly you would hear,
I've been watching a lot of pain things on TikTok, so that feels like and laughing, so that feels like it'd be karma. Yeah. So we're doing another formative songs. It's my turn. It's my turn to formative songs. You sons of bitches. You ever tried to say the word formative too many times? Yeah, I kept saying formative.
formative.
formidable.
Yeah. It's
Formidable songs.
these are some formidable songs.
Unformidable.
So I did this a little bit differently than perhaps has been done in the past.
I know.
I didn't break any rules.
There are no rules.
But
there are a lot of rules in my
there
head.
There was a template.
we did
Yeah.
10 songs, right? 10,
Yes.
10 songs. So I did that. But I'm
I see 11.
I fucking knew you were gonna do
it's not I put 11 for a different I'll explain. I'll
Okay,
guess
okay.
when I get there. You're not going to hear 11 songs, you're going to hear 10 songs.
Interesting. Okay.
So, okay. So the way that I did this was I went through like kind of. I'm basically going to give everybody like a history lesson on me today,
Okay.
as well as play music.
That's the
It
point
did
of
kinda
it.
work like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, can we?
I'm such a professional. Golly.
Was
So-
that your reminder to start the podcast?
That was
at
my reminder to wake up that I set for PM instead of AM.
8? Okay. All right.
So,
Well,
so what I've done to start us off today is kind of what I'm going to call honorable mentions, and it's not specific. The reason that it became honorable mentions is because what I did first when I made this list was I basically wrote down either genres, styles, or specific artists / specific songs I already knew were supposed to be there, right? So for those genres or styles that ended up I couldn't think of a immediate song or an immediate like this should go here. I ended up just saying I wanted to at least talk about those styles of music that were really important to me, but I couldn't think of like one specific. Like there's stuff, but it just wasn't enough, you know. So like the first thing I'll mention will be 90s pop, specifically boy bands. It was a really important thing to me. NSYNC, I loved it, but I couldn't think of a specific song. But it definitely, you know, it leads into me liking pop music still. When I was in middle school, I loved like rap and hip hop, specifically from Houston, Atlanta, like Southern rap.
Chopped and screwed stuff.
Exactly. I love my favorite rapper was for sure Chameleonaire. But I playing some of that stuff, it would be fine, but it's just it's not the only part of it that really feels like I could you know, kind of say, hey, this is what's really important to me is that how rhythmic it is. And that was also my first foray into writing because I wrote raps in my journal in English class. Nope. And I won't even. I hope I burned some of that.
I was gonna say, do you have those
I hope not.
in a locked box somewhere?
And then the third and final honorable mention will be music from my mom, being the Chicks, Fleetwood Mac, Bonnie Raitt.
Rolling Stones.
Well, that's my dad.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And I tried to
Way
think
to
about
go.
stuff from my dad.
Shit.
And I tried to think about stuff that my dad played that I really liked, but it didn't stick the same. You know, I have very fond memories of being in the car and listening to stuff like the Chicks and Fleetwood Mac and that kind of stuff. And there are some songs that stick out. Landslide in particular is one.
Beautiful song.
But it just wasn't like it didn't fit the same as the rest of this did. So instead, what I'll do is this is kind of chronological in my life, a little bit messy in certain spots, but we'll kind of just start us off. So the really big point that where I started to listen to music a lot more outside of these things is I had CDs of these things and listened to a lot on the radio. But the thing that kind of took me over the edge to listening to music and getting really into it was Broadway, was the theater.
Are we surprised, album?
Shocked.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah, it's 2 playbills, man. I got more somewhere else. So it was hard for me to pick. My first leading role in a musical was in Bye Bye Birdie, and I thought about playing something from Bye Bye Birdie, but it's good music, but it's not. I didn't listen to it a ton. I just performed it. That's also the musical I tap danced in.
Nice.
It's also well, I guess I could say this. Yeah, it was also my first kiss was on stage in Bye Bye Birdie. Yeah. Yeah, you know what really helped my first kiss on stage? That was my first kiss ever. Was on stage, in that musical. Was I looked out the day of rehearsal for that kiss, and there's a classmate in the aisle, fucking just like humping the air.
That made you feel better or worse?
Way worse. Sorry, I moved your mic stand.
No, it's fine. We're good. We're still good.
And then
Don't move it again.
I was also in a summer production of Guys and Dolls, and I thought about playing some stuff from Guys and Dolls, but it didn't hit the same as another summer production I did, which was You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown, where I played
nice.
Charlie Brown.
Hell yeah.
Now, for those who don't know about this musical,
bother.
it is like very cheesy. It is very Charlie Brown musical theater on the nose. But when they premiered this musical, there's a lot of people who were not big at the time who were in it. 2 names that are really big are Kristen Chenoweth, who went on to eventually be in Wicked, and she's been in TV and movies since. And then another big name, Anthony Rapp, who played Charlie Brown, and Anthony Rapp went on to be in Rent. He's on some TV show right now. I can't remember which one it is, but he's become a huge star, not related to Renee Rapp. But here is the choice that I went with was The Kite, where he's trying to fly a kite. And this was a pain in the ass. I remember rehearsing this like crazy. I listened to this so many times, and my wife Kara is dyeing her hair right now, but she was starting the process while I was like re-listening to everything today, and I was just singing along, like laying in bed, just like scrolling, singing along to this song. It's great. It's just it's ingrained in my head. So here's The Kite.
Feel free to sing along now.
Nope.
Okay.
Little more speed, little more rope, little more wind, little more hope. Gotta get this stupid kite to fly. Gotta make sure it doesn't snag, doesn't droop, doesn't drag. Gotta watch out for every little whoops. Speed,
So I'm sitting here like practicing this over and over because I have to be. I'm not selling how mad I am and how heartbroken I am by this kite on stage.
Millions of little kids do it every day. They make the kite and poof, it's in the sky. Leave it to me to have the one
I
full
would kill
kite
to see
who
this.
likes to see a little kid cry. Little less talk, little more skill, little less luck, little more will. Gotta face this fella eye to eye. Now
Great
that I've seen
vibrato.
you chasing moles,
Anthony
climbing
Rapp's great.
trees, digging holes, catching your string on everything passing by. Why not fly?
And then he starts to feel hope because the kite's in the air.
I can hear it.
What's it doing?
It's so cheesy.
It isn't on the ground.
But if you sell this, it's the most beautiful thing in the world.
I have
can
chills
see
right
that.
now.
Yeah.
It's in the
I'm not
air.
joking. I have like goosebumps.
Look at that. It's caught the breeze now. It's past the trees now, with room to spare. Oh, what a beautiful sight. And I'm not such a clumsy guy.
And he feels that hope.
If I really try,
Uh-oh.
I can
Sounds like something bad.
really fly a kite.
So that's the first one. So that's the first one. Yeah, I mean, musical theater has been a part of my life forever and ever and ever
Yeah.
and ever and ever since then.
Every time we're on the road with Moniker,
Yeah.
you guys always at some point have a full on performance.
And it'll always be that way.
Yes.
I did musical theater all throughout, like, basically 7th grade. I think I started it in 6th grade, but I really did it from 7th grade all the way through high school, and I would keep doing it to this day. But it's a big time commitment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So theater itself wasn't the draw for you; it was the music aspect of it.
I think at first it was the theater aspect. I was the president of my thespian society.
Nice.
And so I really liked I liked the theater in general. I loved going to plays, but I think that as I got older, I realized that musicals were the thing that drew me in the most. I would much rather go see a big musical than a big play most of the time. But I think maybe it's the like cost of mental entry, because if you go see a play, it's like going to see it's largely like going to see like a big dramatic movie. You want to give all of your attention to everything. Musicals have this really great thing about them where, especially in that context, right? Like, that's a really it was a short song. We listened to the whole thing. That won't be the case for the rest of this. But with that, you for 2 minutes, you feel how Charlie Brown feels about trying to fly that fucking kite. And if it's sold really well, you get to feel that. But then the next song is when he goes and does the therapy thing.
Right.
And you can kind of check out a little bit during some of that stuff.
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to like fully give yourself for every little piece of a musical. And some musicals will draw you in enough where you do pay attention the whole time. But I think with a play, you generally are like, I have to be here.
Of course.
You don't have a break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dialogue.
Yeah.
So, what had you seen a musical before you were a participant in this one?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the first one you remember seeing?
I don't actually remember the first one. The first one that I really remember going to and being like obsessed with was Wicked. But I had been to musicals before that. But Wicked was the first one that I remember being like, this is fucking awesome.
Right.
This is so cool. I'm sure I'd been to ones before that, but that's the first one I remember. And then there were plenty that I went to after that, whether they be local or touring. I saw my good friend Elzina in High School Musical, like a stage production of it, which is actually pretty fucking rad.
Right.
Like the movie's cool too, but the stage production
Doing that at a high school, right?
that was just a local theater.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Even better than, honestly. So,
Yeah. And then like finding like things like Les Mis, and then that led me to like eventually finding my favorite musical, Spring Awakening, and like things like the Book of Mormon. There's so many great musicals that continue to like, I if people haven't been to musicals enough, you should find time and go, especially if it's like a touring production. You're gonna love every second of it. But I mean, I know it's not for everybody, but it's at least a fun outing. You get like, 4 hours of entertainment. It's great.
Yeah, dude. This is awesome. I'm so glad we're doing this.
We barely
I will
started.
say, I didn't expect that to be the musical.
Yeah.
song that
Well,
made this.
I thought about.
I don't know what I expected it to be, but it wasn't that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought about the first musicals that I was in, and those are some of the first 3. I was also in Seussical the musical.
Is that like a Dr. Seuss?
Yeah, it's all based on the Dr. Seuss universe. So it's all like it's like the blending of all of it together.
But you only got deeper into it. Mm-hmm. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because so often at those formative stages, you end up going through many phases of things and genres that we end
Yeah.
up listening to. But this has stayed with you the entire time.
Yeah, and I couldn't imagine a something like a time of my life without it.
Right. The sense of community
Yeah.
that you probably felt.
Yeah, big time. The sense of community is a really big one. I think that's at the time. I think that was a really important thing. Now, so I just am like, this is my thing. And now whenever I find like a fellow Broadway person, like when Jackson and I were like, oh, you like Broadway too?
Yeah.
That was a really big thing. But like I also, as I got older, I was like, man, fucking theater kids are so annoying. It's
accurate.
It's just so tough to be around.
Well,
them.
and the anxiety you get like going to theaters.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Which is it's one thing. It's one thing when I go to like a theater that I don't really go to, or like a big theater. Like I didn't go to big theaters a lot. I would go to them, but like, you know, I think you're referencing that black box that we rehearse in, right?
Yeah.
I have spent so many hours in black box theaters, and that was through mostly like actual theater, not musical theater. So like, you know, I was in a production of Macbeth that we did competitions for and stuff like that. Which that just is like, I hate this. This is just, I don't think I could ever bring myself to do that kind of thing again.
Right.
So next on the list, somewhere in time, this would line up, maybe not right after, or maybe somewhere before, but I might have mentioned this on the show before, but my dad lives in Germany, and he's like a big music listener, a big music fan. Some would call him a drummer. And
you took that throne from him.
Yeah.
Some years ago in a very definitive way.
Yeah. So, but he did introduce me to one particular band, and that was System of a Down. And I didn't really connect this as my like introduction to metal at the time, and nor do I still really, and I'll get to that in a little bit, which is weird. It should be my introduction to metal, but it was kind of more isolated because it was just like these memories of driving through Germany with my dad blaring System of a Down at like the top volume, and my mom getting really upset about it.
Like flying down the Autobahn.
Yeah. Well, not even the Autobahn, just like whatever streets, just blaring this music. Now,
Going down a quiet neighborhood road.
Yeah.
yeah. So I think for some of my examples, I got into these artists at weird times. I think that I found myself, and I might have mentioned this during you guys' deep dives or formative songs, but like I wasn't listening to music that much at a young age. Like at like, you know, before 7th, 8th grade. Like I started listening to music more when I was 14. You know, that was kind of like when I really was like, oh, I'm going to listen to music.
Were you into sports before you got into music?
Yeah, I mean, I was loosely into all of it. I did all of it,
trying all the stuff.
Yeah,
that's what most kids do, right? Is that what you did? You play sports?
I didn't play a lot of sports.
I
I played t-ball.
Yeah.
I found that like just my like I think my desire to go listen to music just wasn't always that strong.
Sure.
And I would get obsessed with like a song at a time kind of thing, especially when like iTunes was around. And I tried to think about what songs those would be, and one came to mind that was what's that? It was "Bad Day" by Daniel Powder.
I don't know if I know that
Because you
one.
had a bad day.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say you've heard it in like every commercial.
I remember that one. For me, it was "I Ran Over the Taco Bell Dog." Do you remember that song?
I do.
I don't know what that is.
Oh yeah, you don't have to.
So
I feel like it was listed as like Adam Sandler or something.
yeah,
but
I think it was.
Was
it?
Wasn't it Adam Sandler?
I don't know.
That's
That's
unexpected.
embarrassing.
So, well, regardless, that like there were songs like that I put on repeat, but they just didn't like. There's connective tissue for sure, but it wasn't the same as what these like actually being interested in listening to more of something was a big deal.
Yeah.
And System of a Down was a big thing, but I got into it during Mesmerize. Now, way later down the road, do I realize how weird that is because Toxicity was the big album right before Mesmerize, but Mesmerize BYOB was what got me into it.
No, I think around a lot of people got into it around that time. That song specifically.
I got into Toxicity.
That song specifically, like, put them on more, like, because, you know, singles at that point, right? Like iTunes, like you were saying.
Yeah,
That song was everywhere, I feel like.
For sure. Well, and they also were coming off of Toxicity, so to then
right.
have BYOB, it was a big deal. But so for our song choice today, I've decided that I would play the song that probably upset my mom the most, being played in the streets of Germany, which was Violent Pornography.
Because that's what it's all about, folks, is upsetting moms.
Sorry. Now, I obviously re-listened to all these, and I found that this song is so fun and catchy, but does not have a lot of substance.
There's a couple of songs like that from it.
Yeah.
Lupe just nailed it.
Great timing, Lupe.
And you were 14 at this point?
13,
13, 14, yeah.
I did not know what this was about. I didn't know I didn't understand.
No.
Okay.
So
You might not even have known what pornography was. You don't have to answer that.
I knew that, but I didn't. But I didn't understand the whole concept really.
Like you wouldn't necessarily understand why like this is an offensive song to some adults.
Yeah, you might have
Especially
referred
a mom
to this.
that was trying. It was doing a great job of like not sheltering me, but like I wasn't
Keeping you safe?
Yeah. I wasn't like
preserving your innocence.
I wasn't playing M-rated games. My friends were playing Halo. I was the last guy on that train. I did not understand anything in this chorus. Didn't know what the word sodomy was. I was singing along saying inside of me.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
And my mom had to tell me I was wrong.
Today we learn about sodomy.
Okay, so this is actually where the timestamp is. It's only for one little piece. That piece. So, I think that again, I didn't really realize that this was like my introduction to metal at the time. Still, really don't feel like it was, but it was just like it was exciting, fun music that had like, especially when you go and look at Mesmerize, like it was very heavy, and it was like very like like System of a Down is so. The vocals are so important. Like both amazing singers, and for somebody who still is just obsessed with that kind of thing, that was a really big deal.
That makes so much sense when you think about like your hip hop phase, not phase, but like that whole era.
It was a phase. It was a phase for sure.
But then the musical theater stuff, and then this is the perfect band to get you into heavy music because he's essentially rapping.
Right. Yeah.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah. Well, and then after shortly after this, I find the collabs that System of a Down did do with rappers, and so that set me off because I was still listening to rap at this time.
Wait, I didn't know they did collabs.
Yeah, they did at least one.
Was that around the time that like Jay-Z and Linkin Park were doing stuff?
Yeah, it was
was
around that time. Yeah, because I also listened to the shit out of that one. Fuck me. I'll find it. But yeah, they did something. Maybe someone in chat knows it if I can't find it fast enough. But yeah, they were doing collabs with rappers. They were doing a bunch of different stuff. Oh yeah, with Wu-Tang. Shame was the name of the song.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one.
So I think that was an album that was collabs like metal bands and rappers.
Oh, okay.
And I might have even mentioned that on our new metal episode.
It's like the shame on the I can't sing most of that song.
Nope. Yeah. So System of a Down, that was a really big deal for me, which leads to what in my mind is my introduction to heavy music, which was sitting in choir class freshman year, and somebody who I think they live here, and I saw them at a bike shop in town.
No way.
And I was almost like I wanted to say something, and then I was like, so there's this coffee shop, bike shop in town. Like it's been a bike shop. They just put a coffee shop in front of it, and the coffee's really good. So I was trying to get coffee, but they were closed, and he was like, "Oh yeah, they're closed." And I was like, "Fuck! I think you set me on my path."
Thanks for my life.
So he had he was a senior. I was a freshman. He had just the shitty acoustic guitar that's in every choir room, and he plays Symphony of Destruction on it.
Ooh.
And in my head, I'm like, "What is that?
Hey, what is that magical thing you're playing?
What the fuck are you doing, man?" And so he tells me it's Symphony of Destruction. So I put it in the list. We're not going to listen to Symphony of Destruction because what I want to play is the song that really set me off on like the thrash metal thing.
Oh, this is your 11?
So Symphony of Destruction would be like the 11th track.
Yeah.
And then I thought I should put this in instead. And this song does have some lyrical content that I didn't want to skip past. But because Dave Mustaine from Megadeth is a bad man.
Very, yes.
So we're not going to listen to any of the lyrics. I do think as I was listening to it, I was like, man, he's such a good singer though. Super for the style especially. But this is Holy Wars by Megadeth. Side by side this with most Metallica, the clean playing.
Well, this is a remaster, but still.
Okay, but
yeah.
That was such a great drum fill.
It's just
Confident drummer.
And you can kind of hear the bass.
yeah. You used to listen to this album while playing Gears of War. Juxtapose that with your Mortal Kombat
with the
and
Beast Boys.
So this song kind of follows your thrash metal form. It's got like the intro, the verse, the chorus, verse, and then it's got a big long bridge that's slower, and then it goes to this other part. And I'm going to take us to that other part of the song.
The intro is like 3 minutes long,
and it's awesome. It's
Yeah.
like what got me into it was that
Yeah.
intro. That was enough alone. So here's the later part of the song. It's just like everything that I didn't know I needed at the time.
right? I mean, this could be up until the solo could have been a System of a Down breakdown.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The harmonics.
So this I don't know. This one to me felt like at that age I was like I'm getting the angst. I'm getting the heavy music angst and anger and what have you, right? Well, it's just going to get angstier. Because then I find my way, and I believe it was through Guitar Hero, to Slipknot.
Oh, so somebody in a senior in choir shows you Megadeth. You got the hooks are in.
Yep.
You get Guitar Hero.
All my friends, everyone in my friend group is playing Guitar Hero.
And your mom is cool with that?
Yeah, because it was rated T.
Okay.
Yeah.
Side note, isn't it sad that kind of like went away?
What, Guitar Hero?
Yeah.
Well,
And,
yeah.
like that kind of like genre of like game that feels like to me was like a really good way for like a lot of people to find new
Yeah.
songs and music and
Yeah.
play a video game with like stuff. I sound like an old man. So just like sitting around on the couch with a controller, right?
Yeah, it's really good
You're
until
at
you
least doing something.
end up a music educator and some
Sure, I
kid
can
comes in and is
imagine
like,
that
I
part's
can play
bad.
Swell
Yeah.
Teeth Spirit on hard. And then I'm like, okay, play it. And they're just like,
Yeah. I can imagine that part.
You hear
is
the
bad.
yeah. And I'm just like, oh, okay.
I mean, rhythm games are still really big, just
Yeah,
in
it's
certain
just very
parts.
different
Yeah,
now,
it's a
yeah.
much more niche thing than what Guitar Hero and Rock Band did.
Yeah.
Because as Jackson's mentioned, he got into a lot of music through Fuse and Guitar Hero, and Guitar Hero and Rock Band was a really big part for me to even hear a lot of music. Like I fell in love with Boston because of Rock Band. I loved the song More Than a Feeling, and I was like, this is what I got to listen to more of this.
I guess that's more
Right.
of my thinking is like it had such a wide variety of music.
Yeah.
You could have stuff like Slipknot and Boston side by side.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel weird either. So.
Right.
No, it was about the progression in the game,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you get to hear the interesting thing about Guitar Hero 2. Total side note is that like they didn't get the rights to a lot of songs, so they would record like covers of the songs.
Yeah, for
Oh,
the
yeah,
first
yeah,
game,
yeah.
Yeah, it was for like the second and third one too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. Some of those just you listen to it. And
Maybe
you're
that's
like,
why they're not around anymore.
well, I mean, they've gotten so many successful. Like they you can find every song from Metallica's discography officially in there. Metallica sponsors all of it. So
Was it a Neversoft game?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Before I Forget was in Guitar Hero.
Great song.
And this is again an example of I got into it after the big move. Like you talk to any Slipknot fan and they're like Volume 3 was when they went fucking downhill, right? For most like pop listeners or casual, metal listeners, Volume 3 was a big deal. Volume 3 got them into Slipknot. And so Volume 3 was what got me in. I love this album. And I'm not gonna play Before I Forget. I'm gonna play the Pulse of the Maggots.
Hagen, explain to the people
Yeah,
watching
you
what
have
a
to explain
maggot
that.
is.
A maggot is the name of the fan base. The maggots are the fan base of Slipknot.
And might you have been one?
I am a maggot.
You are. And what signifies
I have a
proper
number.
magnet?
I have a
Yeah,
number.
You have a number.
I have every Slipknot member has a number, and so if you're a maggot, you also have a number.
What's your number?
I don't remember. It's long.
It's on a jacket, right?
It's on a jacket in my closet. I could go find it.
You're Slipknot member 6,000.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be higher than that. But
Somehow
yeah.
Eloy is 25.
And that was the thing where I had to ask my mom to join the maggots.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were
Yeah.
too young to do it?
Well, it
Did,
was
did you
just-
explain it just by
Oh.
saying that? Mom, I need to join the maggots. And
I don't
she's
think
like,
I don't think I said that exactly, but yeah.
Our parents must have thought we were so weird.
Sure,
Parents
I
saying
guess.
all kids are weird.
Yeah.
I guess all kids
Are weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is Pulse of the Maggots. I'm not going to make us listen to the entire intro, but just a little bit of it, and then I do have a timestamp for later in the song.
Dude, I could just see you getting so stoked at the sound.
Every friend of mine that you've met from my childhood, it was us in a car, like screaming along to all of this intro.
Dude,
I can see that.
My friend Jesse and I used to mosh in his dad's garage to this music.
There are pictures on Facebook of me and Austin and my friend Jake after being in a Slipknot pit, like before, after, like us, like
Dude,
dead.
I love that.
So he does this whole rant. Sorry. There we go. The crowd noise.
This is how you participate. You guys would just yell this.
Uh-huh.
I just picture you practicing screaming to this too. Very, very coyly around your friends, hoping they would go, wow, you should be in a band and scream.
Not coyly at home, though.
Yeah, no.
So this song is not like one of their bigger songs, but it is like one that is, I think, and aptly named "Pulse of the Maggots." I think it's for like a lot of really big fans of Slipknot. It's a great song. It's like relatively, I'll say, quote unquote, upbeat. Like it's got a really like good groove that makes you want to move around.
Right.
It's not like a mosh song, but it is one that like the fans can get into really clear. Like it's clear where you're supposed to get into it. And then this kind of thing is another reason why I love Slipknot. This guitar stuff. Just what the fuck?
I'd love to see the tabs for that. This month in Guitar Player Magazine.
More crowd stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's kind of
Slipknot.
interesting. That's like is a very fan centric song.
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that stuff.
It's very clear that it was like, I mean, I don't know if it came from they want to write this for the fans or this is a riff. Let's kind of lean it this direction. I don't know where any of that came from, but it is for the fans. It's for
Yeah.
the listeners. It's great. It's a ton of fun. And yeah, that was it was one of many songs and artists that friends would be in cars or houses just screaming along to together. And then going to shows and like having a great time together. It's
Dude.
like, group of like, somewhere between like 4 and 8 of us would do any of this together, right?
It's so good for kids to have a sense of community like that.
Yeah.
Like a big part of my life was shaped because of groups of friends like that.
Yeah. Well, it's like Slipknot will be here in the DFW in September, and I'm gonna see hopefully go with my friend Austin, who was one of these like groups of friends who are part of the group of friends that was like doing this with us.
Yeah. So like 20 years later.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
so awesome.
It's great. It's wonderful. So angstier and angstier. I would argue Slipknot's angstier than Megadeth.
Oh yeah.
And somewhere along the way, I went from being just a singer. I also played piano at points in my life, but the first instrument, aside from cello, I took cello lessons for like a little bit. But the first instrument,
didn't know that.
Yeah, for like a 6-month period, I took cello lessons.
I don't think I knew that, but I'm not surprised at all.
And then I eventually picked up bass. I wanted to play bass, and so the first like performance I did, I think it was the first performance I did on bass. A group of friends of mine asked if I wanted to play this song by Chiodos. I didn't know who that was. I didn't know any of this, and that really fucked me up because now I fell in love with this style of music. I fell in love with all of it. So the song was "The Words Best Friends Become Redefined," which is like actually a song title instead of just. I mean, it still is just a string of words, but
Yes.
it feels like it has some. It means
got
something
more to it,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that was my introduction to all those kind of song titles, this kind of music. I fell in love with the high singing. So this is that song. I thought I'd pick a different one, but I chose the one that I played. We played this song at a church. It wasn't a church I went to. It was a church they all went to. And so we played this song at a church, and I played bass and sang backup vocals on this to like the big parts of the song that I love.
Yeah. Blake in the chat, the first tab was just 0, 0, 0, 0. That's the thing is tabs back in the day were barbaric. Like you couldn't understand anything.
Well, and I'm reading this next to friends who are taking like group guitar lessons together.
Yeah, yeah.
Now I'm the odd man out. I'm playing bass. There's like 3 guitar players. They know how to read all this stuff. They do this once a week with like, it's like I'm the one that has no idea what's going on, right?
Right. Do you have tabs for that?
Yeah, and so I'm
bass
trying
player.
to figure it out. I'm like, I don't know what any of this is, and I think that I remember like just kind of winging some of it because I just didn't understand it. I was like, I think I'd get this. It sounds fine, and no one's telling me I'm wrong. So that got me on like the whole train. I fell in love with Chiodos. I fell in love with A Day to Remember, Enter Shikari, 4 Years Strong. I almost put Enter Shikari on here instead of Chiodos, but like, and also A Day to Remember was a big contender because Enter Shikari was a song that my old band, The Floor is Lava, we used to sit and just play those songs together. Right. We did that for A Day to Remember song as well, but I listened to them a lot. But it was like Chiodos set this off. They set this off 100%. And this song, this album, All's Well That Ends Well, just, oh my God. So good. So somewhere along this pipeline, do I find an artist named Ace Enders?
I don't think I know Ace Enders.
Ace Enders was still in a band called The Early November. It was an emo band from, I think they must have started in like 99 or something. And he started like a solo project called Ace Enders and a million different people. And one of the first things he did was like a cover of Bittersweet Symphony with a lot of singers like the singer from Chiodos. And so I found Ace Enders through that, and I was like, who's this guy? And I found an album that you actually can't find on streaming anymore. It's only on YouTube, and it has like only like 1,000 views on it. So I thought I almost played a song from that, but I decided we'll just listen to the first song off of his full length and his only full length under this title. It's the album's called When I Hit the Ground. This is the first song called Reintroduction, and this is I think it'll kind of explain itself, but it was a really big deal for me because it was like kind of singer-songwriter-ish, but still had, emo, angsty elements to it. But yeah, this is Reintroduction. It might take a minute.
This all makes so much sense. Which has been the case.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
So this is somebody who was in early November?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like him and one other guy.
You mentioned that, I was like, I know that name. Why do I know that name?
Yeah.
A poor reflection. I've been a myth in the passing years of my life. I've been lost by indecision. I've been on old, forgotten questions. I've been a ghost for the past 8 years of my life.
Is that double tracked? I
don't
think it is
know.
double good.
But
It's kind of
And now
he's insane.
I surrender to you, my love.
Okay.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, so then the song takes a turn,
As
not
it does.
too much far ahead.
The past 8 years I just wasn't enough for your love, for your love. The past 8 years I failed myself again, 'cause I wasn't good enough, I just wasn't good enough. Pass me on.
I love it so much. It's got this like great singer on top of what it's
Yeah.
doing. What in this song is a little heavier, but in the first part of the song is
Yeah,
just
right.
pretty, and he just screams high notes beautifully.
Right.
And
And all of this stuff still hits you the same way.
100%.
That's so awesome.
I also I got to see him and Craig Owens do an acoustic show in Dallas, just the two of them. And then I was supposed to see him do another show, but we couldn't go. But I saw him; it was at the door. I saw him in the parking lot because we had to like leave, and I got a picture with him and stuff. And he's one of those guys that's just like and then I discovered that there's this like I think I mentioned it on the show, but there's a band called Aaron West and the Roaring 20s, and it's fronted by a guy who was in a band called the Wonder Years. That was like another like pop punk band, and I find that Ace Enders produced that record, and that record's like getting put on a bunch of. It was on that like that big albums of the year website. It was like high up on that, and then their Early November released a new album this year, and I was never really a big fan of theirs, but I liked that album quite a bit.
It's like that's. I remember listening to that album. I pulled it up and looked at the art. And I'm like, yeah, I remember listening to that a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it for 15 years.
Yeah. So he's such a, I don't know. He was very impactful, important for me. And I've gone back and listened to that album on YouTube a couple times in the last like couple years. And it's just, I don't know. It brings me back to a whole other place.
Right.
That's to me, that's my peak angst is this guy, but he also is just a beautiful singer, straight up songwriter. Like you could listen to plenty of songs on that album and you don't necessarily get the angst. You get like, this guy just can write songs.
So at this point, you're in bands. Are you thinking like I'm going to be a musician?
I mean, it's pretty high up there, but I didn't really know. I didn't really know if I was going to be a musician until I got to college. I couldn't decide if I wanted to do theater or music or both or none of it. And so I was playing in a band called The Floor Is Lava with my friends and
With Xena.
Yeah. And we were writing a lot and we were all listening to very different stuff. Some of it's like the Chiodos and Slipknot was similar for some people in the band, but not everybody. And stuff that like, my friend Alzina was listening to was stuff that at the time I didn't like, which I'll get into in a little bit. And so that was a whole other thing too. So in a similar vein, at a certain point in time, I found myself kind of, whether it be, I think it was probably through friends, find myself getting into artists like Ingrid Michaelson, Regina Spektor, and one of those artists that has stuck with me very much to this day, because I still love both of them, but I don't listen to everything they do, and if I listen to the old stuff, I'm sure it would hit the same way, but the artist that continues to sit with me that was similar in that vein was Sarah Bareilles. For everyone who knows, I love her very, very much, so the album Kaleidoscope Heart came out in 2010, so it doesn't necessarily line up timeline-wise for where I would have been listening to this, but this song to me is a really big kind of, especially if you listen to the whole, like the first song of the album going into this one, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Heather in the chat.
Heather, you can mute. ...
Dot.
This is Uncharted by Sarah Bareilles.
No words, my tears won't make any room for more, and it don't hurt like anything I've ever felt before. This is no broken heart, no familiar scars. This territory goes uncharted. Just me in a room sunk down in a house in a town.
And an older version of me listens to this and goes, God, these players, the musicians on this are insane.
Yeah.
And come to learn that a lot of these people have been playing on the best records ever, and they are like, I think it's Matt Chamberlain on this on drums, and he's still doing shit on some of the best tracks.
Again, currently touring with Brandi Carlile.
Yeah. Right. So I don't have anything specific for this song timestamp wise. I just want to play a little bit of that, and that says it enough right there, I think.
So you were in, you bought into Sarah Bareilles before she did The Waitress.
Big time.
So when she did The Waitress, were you like, oh my God?
Yeah, I mean, I might have known she was into theater because she's been very open about how much she loves theater. But when she did Waitress, it was a really I saw that on Spotify on like a release radar. It was like music from Waitress. I'm like, what's Waitress? And I Google and I'm like, she wrote a fucking musical, because she released an album that was just her singing the songs as if they were more like truncated pop songs.
Okay,
right.
And so that was my introduction to that musical. But it was I was already into Sarah Bareilles 110%. This album Kaleidoscope Heart I have most of her stuff on vinyl. You can't get this on vinyl. This, if you try to find this on any website, it'll go for like $300, $400 if it is available. And I'm not going to do that. Sorry.
Sorry,
it'll get reissued at some point.
Yeah. Well, I wish it was the 10-year, but it didn't happen there.
I'm looking at the players on this because I've never actually looked at this. Matt Chamberlain is the drummer. You're right. Justin Meldal Johnson, who plays, he produced Paramore's self-titled.
Oh.
He also played bass on it and plays bass in Beck's band.
Crazy.
Blake Mills is playing guitar on this record, who produced my favorite Dawes record. He also produced
That's crazy.
Alabama Shakes, Sound and Color,
Yeah.
and so many others.
Wow. Yeah.
At this time, she had that band.
Yeah, and
Yikes.
it's really interesting because if you like watch videos of her at her like younger stage, because this was her second album, Kaleidoscope Art was her second album, and so she did herself. I don't remember what the name of the first one, what the first album is, but whatever that album is, that's the one that has her big hit Love Song
Little
on
Voice?
it. Yeah, Little Voice. And people were kind of like hesitant about her at first because she was just this like it was just whatever. Another like pop girl singer, but was doing weird different stuff than a lot of other singers were. So they were kind of hesitant. And then Love Song blew up, and now here we are now with her being just like such a huge, huge. She's on TV. She's writing another musical. Like it's crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That record also had Matt Chamberlain, and the bass player instead of JMJ Justin Liddell Johnson was Chris Chaney, who is currently touring for AC/DC, and he quit Jane's Addiction to tour with AC/DC.
Yeah, it's crazy. She had these great players
and played with Alanis Morissette when she came up.
Wow. Yeah, that's wild. So, so not only is Sarah Bareilles just a genius writer, because she, the players are one thing, and I'm sure they had say and stuff, and I know she had a producer, but she is she's a
badass.
She's a very strong writer on her own, great singer, great piano player, but just kind of the way that she writes songs, especially in these like first two album eras, is just like it's beautiful pop music that everyone except for I know one person who won't like it, but but yeah. So moving right along to what makes perfect sense, I through my metal journey, through the Megadeth, the Slipknot, the Chiodos, and through being a musician and liking music, weird music, I found my way into progressive music. My dad also loves prog, and I found my way to Between the Buried and Me. And I thought about playing a bunch of different stuff from this, but this song was one that I very much was just like I don't know what could beat this as far as what I listen to on repeat by them, and what has so much to just show off of what is about them. So this is Son of Nothing by Between the Buried and Me. Everyone knows I love this band.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been weird if this was not here.
How many
almost
times have you
wasn't.
seen them?
I don't know.
Like 9?
Oh no, it's double digits.
It's I think I've seen them 6 times, I think.
Yeah.
Because of you.
I've seen them a lot. I love them. I love them so much. I have colors on my chest right here. Like I have a tattoo for it. It's a big deal for me. So I have a couple different timestamps. I'm not gonna play all of them, but there's a couple different spots I want to show.
It's a 10-minute.
Yeah,
it's a 10-minute
exactly.
long song. 11 minutes.
So here's our first little timestamp here, and the reason that I did so many timestamps was because they, it's long songs, and it's not just they rarely repeat anything.
Right.
They rarely repeat anything.
I mean, that's how you get a song to 11 minutes.
What is this? Who?
That's how you get to 11 minutes.
Who in
It's
their
circus music.
right
You do random
fucking
stuff
mind?
in between, do whatever you want.
It's crazy that someone was like, "Yeah, we should do this." So
This makes so much fucking sense, dude. Like, that Megadeth song is 6.5 minutes long, so
Yeah.
you're no stranger to long songs.
no, yeah.
This sounds like a circus act from a musical.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
you're no
yeah.
stranger to that.
So
The crazy changes in it remind me of like
Just
System of a
changes in
Down.
tone.
Yeah,
in
that's
general.
very true.
The heaviness of Slipknot.
yeah, that's
The melodicism of Sarah Bareilles.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your perfect storm of a
think-
band.
I think that's the next timestamp is
There we go.
yeah.
Same song for the record.
Uh-huh.
Completely different.
Tim Burton core. like said in the chat.
Tim Burton core.
It's so good.
So we got here, and that's kind of wild, right? Why? How did we get there? And
That's barely halfway through.
then we got here.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful.
His voice is so great. And it's gotten better.
We got there, and then somehow we get to this point, and no one really bats a fucking eye at it. We're just like, yeah, that's what that makes sense.
Guitar harmonies are the best.
You don't see the through line all the way through the song.
So yeah, Between the Buried and Me is a big deal for me.
That
How
makes
have I
sense.
never connected these fucking dots for as long as we've been
All
friends?
the dots that led up to that?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh my god.
Total side note about this. We've talked about the drama with their other guitar player or their old guitar player Dusty on
Dusty
the show.
farts.
And Dusty and his suing the band and him being a big old baby, whatever. Anyway, so he recently posted. I don't know if you remember this, but they live streamed Playing Colors on Twitch, and he reposted that and was like, "I'm really glad that the fans got to see this in its truest form before that was taken away from you." Basically throwing shade at the band and the other guitar player, the sub guitar player, who, mind you, that sub guitar player came in because Dusty wasn't physically well enough
Yeah, it
to
had
tour.
nothing to do with the.
Yeah.
I don't forget the timeline.
What?
I forget the timeline,
Well,
if it was
the first time that sub player came in, because the sub player came in twice.
Yeah.
The first time it was because Dusty wasn't like healthy.
Couldn't stand up.
Yeah, he couldn't stand up.
Yeah.
And whether that be because the band was like, "Oh, fuck you, we don't care," or because of actual health reasons, maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But like that's he didn't do anything wrong. Like, why are you throwing shade at like this guy who's like, he learned your parts, man. He plays your parts on stage.
I know how that feels.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so all of this, that's 8 songs. All of this is me through basically, I would say, 12, 13 to 17.
To like yesterday.
So this is like getting me out of high school, right?
Yeah.
So the next two on our final two are college, and it's interesting because again, like thinking about you guys' stuff, like you were pretty much all formed before, like by high school or in high school, right?
Yeah.
And it took me this long, I think, and I think it obviously is still happening, but there's no way I couldn't include these next two examples.
Absolutely.
So I remember going. I was my first semester of college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I took a bunch of different classes. One of the classes I took was Music Theory 1, and that was my only class that was way too early in the morning. It was at 8 a.m. So I came home from Music Theory.
They shouldn't even offer that for musicians.
Musicians it's all early. It's all early.
I know,
it's
I
so
know.
stupid. So
Shouldn't be allowed.
It shouldn't. So Music Theory, 8 a.m. I come back from class. Usually I just fall asleep, but instead I was like, I'm gonna watch something on Netflix. And for some reason, the first thing that popped up was this live Led Zeppelin like video. And I never really, like, my dad had listened to Led Zeppelin, but it didn't really, like, it wasn't. I never clicked with any of it. So I was like, I'll watch this. And it maybe sounds like a bit of a stretch, but it was pretty life-changing.
Yeah.
Like it was a really big door opener for me as far as what rock means. And so the song that I picked was Dazed and Confused. Maybe that's cheesy. I don't really give a shit. I still love this song to fucking death.
You get to hear John Paul Jones's gnarly tone.
Been dazed and confused for so long, it's not true.
The first time hearing this in that live,
I was about to say,
video.
in the context of the live recording, yeah,
it
that makes sense.
fucked me up.
And you didn't smoke pot at this time.
I never really was much of a pot smoker.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that kind of sounded like you do now that I'm implying that.
I mean, there was an expectation, I guess, that if you listen to classic rock, you might be a stoner.
Exactly.
Which
Especially,
I always
you know.
got attributed to me. I had longer hair in high school, and
Yeah.
I never was.
Right.
But
to me, I never really got the whole, and maybe this makes me a narc, but I never really got the whole smoking weed and listening to music thing. I did that with Pink Floyd with a friend once, and I was like, I don't get it.
Turns
It's
out
not-
you don't like Pink Floyd.
Yeah. So can you guess? Can you guess where my timestamp is for this? Yeah, but do you know why it's there?
Because of John Bonham.
Bottom triplets, baby. A tom sound. Imperfect as it is still amazing.
It sounds
Yeah.
incredible.
It's so fucking powerful. It's great.
So
So
live, they were awesome.
yeah.
Like any live recording I've ever seen of them, it's always great.
And that was kind of the thing for me, was just taking all that in, like, you know, at that point in time, I had been exposed to this kind of rock, and it just didn't really click with me. None of it did.
Right.
And to this day, like, I have fans that are huge Stones fans, and I'm happy they love the Rolling Stones, but I just don't get it. I just don't. It's just it doesn't click with me. I don't know why.
Yeah, I understand. Same. I
Yeah.
feel exactly the same way.
Yeah, and this was the first time that this kind of thing clicked with me. Was listening to was watching that live performance of Led Zeppelin.
So every time you put like some tape or a moon gel on your toms, you're like, I'm sorry, Bonham. Betrayed you.
I mean, I don't know how much he gave a shit. He's
No.
it was. I think it was mostly him just hitting drums, and that's what made the sound.
He didn't give a
It was
shit
the
at all.
sizes. It was the way he beat it. It was the way he hit it. It was a whole other thing. And then Bonham became. I'd like dove into the rabbit hole of Bonham and how important he is to music. And now I have Bonham tattooed on me. That was my first tattoo. I am no Led Zeppelin super fan,
Right.
but
I think you don't have to be though.
No, I love and respect what they did for music and for me in particular. So then my final song is, I'd mentioned friends were into music I didn't really get into. Those examples were primarily Foo Fighters and Queens of the Stone Age. I kind of liked Queens of the Stone Age.
In hindsight, that's so funny.
I kind of liked Queens of the Stone Age.
Just didn't care, you know.
Yeah. And I never really I just couldn't get into Foo Fighters. I just couldn't do it. And then I kind of liked Them Crooked Vultures. I started to like that. I was like, okay, cool. This is good. And then they released the teaser. I've said this so many times. Everyone who's a little bit of a fan might know this story. But they released the teaser for Bridge Burning, the first track off of Wasting Light, and I was like, the fuck is this? What am like at the time? I'm like such a fucking metalhead. Led Zeppelin's my first kind of foray into like rock, you know. And so I listened to this. And I'm like, it's heavy. And it's rock, and what am I hearing?
Was it the part of the song where he says, "These are my famous last words," and then it kicks in?
I think it did like the whole, like, or at least part of the whole intro.
The intro.
and then it does that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the teaser. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna play for us today, and we can skip around if we want to. I don't have any specific timestamps, but the thing that sucked me in, that made me a Foo Fighters fan, was literally just this beginning. This was all they needed to do. And then this.
These are my famous last words.
Oh my God, Taylor's best work.
It really is.
Honestly, I think most of the band it might be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Blake in the chat said it's a near perfect album, no doubt,
Yeah.
and I couldn't agree more. That song was a big game changer for me. It was like, oh wow, rock and roll. This is awesome. This is
Yeah.
it's unapologetic, and it's I hate to use this word as it maybe sounds like it's a minimization, but it's simple. It's not simple, right? It's not like
No,
it's,
they've trimmed all the fat.
Yeah, like coming from music like Slipknot or any of the hardcore emo screamo stuff. That stuff has so many things they're doing in the songs, and then finding my way to like prog metal. It's these long and thrash metal even. It's these long form songs that are just all these things, and then you listen to this and you're like, I can get so much of the feeling from that while it doesn't have to be so intense, and it still is just as good, if not better. So that Bridge Burning by Foo Fighters is 110% my it had to be my last pick.
Absolutely.
And it's still to this day is a song that continues to just form me and inform me too. I mean, it's like the use of beat 4 in a song like this is so ingenious. And whether or not any person had that thought, they probably didn't, but just the use of that kind of playing, especially from a drumming perspective, is just like, it's so simple.
Yeah.
But it takes the song to whole other places. It's great. And to be fair, that they do that all over the Pretender too. But like this,
yeah, but it was like the peak of their, not peak because that implies they've gotten
Sure.
worse, but like
Yeah.
this was like the moment where like all of this came together for Foo Fighters.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
this album.
But so it makes the through line there, Led Zeppelin, okay, drumming. At this point, you're probably decided that you're going to be mostly a drummer,
yeah,
or like you're going to go to school for music, maybe.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And you're trying to figure out what in music you want to do, and then you hear the heaviness of this record, and especially Taylor Hawkins at this time,
Yeah.
and you're like, because we've talked about how much this has influenced you as a drummer.
Yeah, Taylor Hawkins on this is probably peak Taylor Hawkins for me.
Yeah, and it's a big part of your blueprint.
Yeah, I mean, just the way that he approached a guitar part like that. The guitar tones are huge on just the simplicity of ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. If someone at a rehearsal played that for me, I'd be like, really?
Yeah.
That's what you want to go with? Could we not maybe change that or add something to it? Because it's like for most people playing that, it would come across as just overly simple.
Well,
and
it's like the confidence that they had as a band at this point.
yeah, and I do think the guitar tone played a really big part. Like, they are a big guitar band.
Yeah.
But then the way that Taylor comes into it and just beats the shit. Listening to just the bass drum playing quarter notes on that, he is very clearly like stomping into each one of those bass drum hits. So yeah, for me, this is that has to be the last one, and it's a big deal. Like, it will always be a big deal for me. That album, this song will always be a really big deal for me, as to just drumming and music as a whole. It's a very well crafted record that when you listen to it doesn't feel overly thought out. It doesn't feel like someone was like, what if we did this and here and this and here? It felt like they made the record and there was a producer that was like, yeah, okay, cool. Sounds good.
That sounds good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you
yeah.
go watch some Foo Fighters documentaries and you go, that is how that works.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they fought trying to overcomplicate it when Taylor was like, maybe we could fade in one drum sound after we fade out the one that starts the song.
Mm-hmm.
And then, or he says, wouldn't it be cool if we could do that? And then Dave Grohl's response is, wouldn't it be cool if we had a bucket of KFC chicken?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, stop fucking doing all that stuff. Let's just play the song.
That documentary also has the quote we do each other all the time. That's I'd maybe never do that
I'd
again.
maybe never do that again.
That's just like Taylor trying to do something and Dave Grohl going, I'd maybe never do that
Yeah,
again.
exactly.
And yeah, so yeah, that I think, yeah, like I said, it's the perfect ending for me in my Formative songs, and I don't really know how else I would have done this. The process wasn't really difficult. It was tough, but it was just like I had to decide on not necessarily songs that were just around, because then I would have picked I would have chosen like Landslide, but I had to choose stuff that made me want to listen to music. It made me
Right.
want to be around music more. And those songs, 90s pop boy bands, they did. I want to listen to music more, but I didn't go on my own to go find more of it. Like the System of a Down train led me into listening to more System of a Down. Megadeth led me into finding Metallica and Slayer, and then eventually liking Slipknot, which then it's like it had to be me going on my own
Right.
for it to make the list.
Right up until like Megadeth and maybe Slipknot, these were all things that were shown to you.
Yeah, I mean, Megadeth was shown to me, but just not in that same way. It was
Yeah.
just like, it was just a guy in choir playing
Right.
acoustic
And you're
guitar.
like, what is that?
I mean,
Yeah.
there is an interesting thing in here of like all of these lead to the next one and they make sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Like we've said with the other,
with yours
activities.
and with mine.
Yeah.
But like, especially here of like the way that you are changing and navigating between like genres, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's interesting to see how like that clicks
Yeah.
so well.
And you know, I in so many ways I would never like I would have never guessed that this would have been, because there were times like, you know, around where I was listening to like the hardcore stuff and I started listening to like ska, and like I loved like, you know, I would have been without my car for, as everyone knows, for a while, and I was driving
Too long.
Yeah, I have it now. We're all good. But I was driving my mom's car, and her car only has radio. So Paralyzer came on, and I was like, I listened to that song a fuck ton.
The Finger 11 song?
Yeah, I fucking love that song. And I thought for 2 seconds, like, that should go on the list. And I'm like, it's the same thing as like Bad Day. It's like I listened to it so much, but it carried no weight outside of just repeat.
Right.
And repeat's important, but like what's going to make it's something that I try to instill in my students a lot, is like, what's going to make you love music more? What's going to make you want to go find that thing? Because it exists for everybody. It exists for everybody to go find that thing that makes you want to listen to the next thing, whether it be associated to that band or that artist, or it's the thing that takes you like, you know, takes you to the next style of music,
It's
right?
the through line that draws like how we got here today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. For me, I'm just thinking of it. A repeat song was that Savage Garden song where he says "Chicka Cherry Cola."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. Chicka Cherry Cola.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, what the hell? What even is cherry cola?
But that doesn't make a formative song.
No, it wouldn't have made the list.
Yeah.
Ian said Finger 11 were the first big band he saw, and that's because they're Canadian.
Oh.
And their first, it might be their first or second album, Grayest of Blue Skies, is still such a great record.
I like I said, I still love Paralyzer.
Yeah.
It's great.
Thanks,
song.
Blake. Yeah, the song is I Want You by Savage Garden.
Thank you, Blake. Blake is always just the
He's our
Always has those
fact
answers.
checker.
Yeah. So that's my formative
Man,
songs.
great job.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I think we can officially open the door now to, obviously we want to hear from you guys in DMs about this, but if any of our guests who have come on the show before, or if you're a longtime listener and you want to share your formative songs with us, then hey, DM us. We'd love for you to come on and share some formative songs with us. And
Yeah, and it'd be cool if along with your formative songs, you could tell us what you're listening to today, and we could go, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
all adds up. Because for me, as the first person who did it, it was like weird singers, harmonies, and cool rhythmic stuff.
Yeah.
And it's still the through line.
Right.
For Adam, it's just like eclectic instrumental stuff and like really cool music that's almost movie-like.
Yeah.
And it's still the same way. And
Yeah.
for you, it's like metal, choir, and rapping.
Hell yeah, dude.
You know, the genres that everybody associates
Yeah.
with each other.
Exactly.
I exude that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate it. So what are you guys listening to?
Oh, jeez. Let's see if I can go first. Adam, go
I've
ahead.
been listening to South of Here, Nathaniel Rateliff's new album.
Nice.
After you mentioned it last week.
What do you think?
It's great. I immediately clicked with it. I think when you played a song from it last week.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, it sounds interesting. I'm going to like that.
Yeah, the
And
first
then,
song.
Yeah. Played the first song and I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I started. Do you have more?
No,
Okay,
just
good.
the one.
I started re-listening because some of our coworkers reminded me of the band Silverchair. Not that I forgot completely about them, but their last album, Young Modern, is a weird last album for a band, and then they broke up after that. So I listened to that album this week, and I was like, man, this is great. And I've been listening to the Julian Lage record, Arclight.
Is that the one from this year?
No,
Oh, okay.
it's from 2016.
Okay.
So nothing new, but it's new to me.
I have been listening to Analysis Paralysis by 4 Year Strong. It's their new album with the best album cover of all time. Talked about it last week, how excited I was. And boy, oh boy, do I love this album. It is everything I wanted it to be. And then I learned that fucking Will Putney produced it. And it makes
classic.
perfect fucking sense why a heavy record is working for for the band. Apparently,
Will Putney is that's to you what Blake Mills is to me.
yeah, I mean, he just touches metal records and they're good. Like it's crazy. But so he produced the record. They definitely stray away from some like normalcy. The songs have some weird shit in there, and people are being like, yeah, you can't really like, it's not. They do some different stuff, so I don't know if it's a really good album. And I'm like, wait a minute. The band that has sounded the same for their entire career, which I like, started to do different stuff, and now you're saying it's bad? Fuck you. That's so annoying. Like, it enraged me to read some of the reviews like that. So if you're at all a fan of that kind of music, their genre is easy core or happy core, but it's a really fun listen. Analysis Paralysis by 4 Year Strong. Go check it out. Anybody, anything else?
Nope.
Excellent. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you so much. If you haven't already, subscribe or follow on whatever podcast app you're using, because that helps us out a lot. If you're on YouTube and you haven't subscribed to the channel or liked the video, please do that, because that also helps us out a ton. And if you're listening right now and you haven't gone to the YouTube and subscribed and liked and all that kind of shit, hey, please do that. That helps us out a ton. If you haven't followed us on social media, you can find us DFT8 Podcast on Instagram, Don't Be the Artist on TikTok. If you want to send us your formative songs, if you want to say hi, if you have any topic suggestions, anything at all, you can email us at feedback@don'tbetheartist.com, or you can DM us on those previously mentioned social medias. We also have our Patreon. Go check out our Patreon. You will get cool stuff if you sign up for the Patreon, plus some exclusives. The video of us listening to the entire Taylor Swift Tortured Poets, whatever the fuck, is up, as well as us watching Whiplash. One of them is painful. The other one is not. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you so much. And
Fuck off! Get rid of town!
you know what I thought just now? It would be so fucking funny if Dave's headphones didn't work the entire time and he's just been talking out of his
Just
ass.
winging it. Just winging it, dude. Well, I do know most of these songs. Also, we'll be here Friday?
Yeah, Friday, bitch.
Which is tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
It is tomorrow.
That's tomorrow. Bye.